Regulating negative emotions. What I'm going to share with you here is a couple of the skills that most of them come out of dialectical behavior therapy. Some come out of the more current therapies. I've combined a couple of them, so I hope you'll give me license to share these with you. I just want to give you some of the basics that I know work and that I know there's good evidence behind. But first of all, what I'd like to say, we mentioned it before, it is becoming evident that there are biological factors on two dimensions, sensitivity and intensity of emotions. Meaning, some people are more sensitive to their emotions, and some people feel emotions more intensely than other people do. Okay, so if there were possible, if we had a glass and we were able to have this much anger, it might make me frustrated. But if you're more sensitive, it's going to make you really in a rage. Okay, but it's the same amount of anger. And so when you consider that, then we have those that are walking through the world who have a much more florid experience of their emotions because they're going off, and they're going off much more intensely. All the more reason why these individuals need to learn emotion regulation skills, because for negative emotions, one positive, we would think that that would be a really great thing to be able to experience more of your emotions, but it typically isn't because there's so much more on the negative. So it becomes much more important for them to learn to regulate negative emotions. And their experience can actually be incredibly fulfilling and creative and wonderful if they learn that. But if they don't, they often find themselves in the quagmire of struggling with the pain of, painful emotions. History of trauma gives you a vulnerability to negative emotions. Clearly, it's been shown that both shame-based trauma, well, not so much shame-based trauma, but PTSD, and we're coming to understand about shame-based trauma that does interfere with your ability to regulate your emotions. Active addiction clearly interferes with your ability to regulate, and then early life learning. Being in a family system that doesn't support it, where you didn't learn it or see it. Okay, the contemplative moment. One skill, we talked about this earlier, it's increase the time between feeling the emotion and taking action. So you have the feeling, you have the action urge, do whatever you can do to increase that moment so you can make a choice about your behavior. And very often there's a very simple thing that you can teach your clients to do, which is delay. Just delay. Delay. And just get them to agree that they're not going to make a decision, they're not going to take the action for 24 hours. And that alone can help them learn the skill of, okay, I'm really angry, I really need to do something about this, and I need to wait for 24 hours, and if the right thing in 24 hours is to strike out, I will strike out. Verbally. If I need to leave, I will leave. If I need to send the email, I'll do it. But wait 24 hours before you do it. And so that way it doesn't feel invalidating, but it teaches them to expand that, because you don't have to tell them that their idea is wrong. You don't have to correct them, because what will happen is once they sober up from that emotion, their perceptual field opens up, and you can just trust that to work in your favor, because they're going to immediately start considering all the other options that might be available for their behavior. So you don't have to say, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I just say, wait. So let's sit with it and wait for 24 hours. And if in 24 hours it still feels like the right thing to do, and you haven't been ruminating on this, and you haven't been getting all involved in the emotion, and it still feels like the right and wise thing to do, then go ahead. That's the wise thing to do.